Okay, I see Coach Gibson is set down. Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Can you hear us okay?
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. And as soon as we get the video going, we'll just go around asking for questions. So anybody want to raise your hand, we'll give it a couple seconds here. We'll start with Coach Gibson. All right, it looks like we're good to go. Jonas, you want to start us off, please?
Good morning, Coach Gibson. Thank you for taking the time and speaking with us. I wanted to ask you, with so many experienced guys and so many starters back, has this fall camp been a matter of perfecting the scheme, what you guys already knew, or throwing more things at those guys because they're so experienced and they play so much football at state?
Yeah, just more perfecting the scheme, getting guys in the right position, and cleaning up technique wise. That's the biggest thing is, get them in a good stance, get their eyes right. And what happens with that is we allow them to play so much faster now that they know it. But I don't want to add a lot of stuff. I want our guys, number one, to play fast, play hard, play physical, and all those things. I don't believe in creating more coverage, more blitzes, more fronts, different stuff like that. I want to perfect what we do. So that's been a really big emphasis for us.
And after the first full scrimmage, where would you say your guys are? I mean, I know the opener's a long way away, but after that first scrimmage, how would you kind of rate your guys?
I think right now we're playing extremely hard. I like where we're at. We still got some position battles going on at different spots, so that's good to see. And then we kind of know who the guys are that played a lot of football and, kind of have secured that spot as a one. But, every day is an interview for those guys as well. So, we're not just going to crown a guy. This is your spot and you could play however, and you're going to keep that spot. So there's a challenge every day for those guys to keep getting better. And you've had that, especially at the linebacker group with Drake and Isaiah and Peyton. I mean, those guys have just, they're playing extremely well right now. They know they're playing off of each other. So it's been good to see.
James Henderson.
Yeah, Tony, has there been any guys that have exceeded expectations for you so far this fall camp?
I tell you, the guy, and obviously he had a lot of, he had a lot of good pub coming in here. And, when we recruited him and got him out of the portal, we kind of knew what kind of player he was off of film, is Corey Durden. But to actually get to coach him and see him in live situations, and, he's a guy that is really, really going to help this football team. And, he's playing extremely well right now, playing hard, and just a great kid to be around. And it just brings a little bit of an older, more experienced guy into that D-line room, which we needed with Aleem moving on last year. So really like where he's at. Jalen Scott has really stepped his game up at linebacker. In the back end, again, new guys, Cyrus Fagan, DoereC Pitts are guys that we, we'll be able to count on. We'll be in the rotation and play a lot of snaps for us. So, a lot of the transfer guys that have experience coming in are the guys that really are standing out right now that we just didn't know much about.
And just to follow up on Corey, is he similar to anybody you've had here the last couple of years in terms of playing style?
I mean, he's different in a lot of ways. The kid's 6'5". And to be honest with you, in all the years in this scheme, he's just different than really anybody I've had, because he can go inside and anchor down and play nose. He can go outside, play a forward technique. He can go out on the edge and be a pass rusher. So he is just a guy that can do a lot of different things for us. And, and that's unique because some guys are just nose guards or, D tackle types. And then we have our end, and he can do it all. So, he's just different than anybody we have on the roster right now. And with the size as well. So a guy like Davin plays both for us, but, Davin's 6'2", where Corey's 6'5", 300 pounds. So, he brings a different piece of game to it.
Thanks, Tony.
Alex Sawyer.
Yeah, Tony, how much does having a guy like Chris Ingram back in the secondary, healthy and playing, help that unit, not only, from his abilities on the field, but what he brings from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah, Chris is Chris is one of my favorite guys on this whole football team. And just from, leadership wise, brings energy to practice, is very smart, knows the scheme, and can help bring that secondary together. And I think that, missing him a year ago and him sitting on the sideline coaching and doing some things and helping guys out, I think that's really helped him grow as well. So, but he knows the scheme, and just to have him, he's almost like a comfort blanket back there for a lot of guys, and everybody looks to him in the back end. So, extremely, extremely happy to have him back, and look forward to him having his best year.
Go ahead, Jonas.
Last year, obviously Tanner is one of the top guys returning in the secondary. Could you tell a difference, even though the guys who stepped in for him played well, but was there a huge difference? Could you tell a difference on the defense when he wasn't out there with the time he missed last year?
Yes, and I think I'm right on this, but when Tanner played, I think we were undefeated. When Tanner did not play, now can we say that's all the reason? No, but he brings confidence. He brings a position. That's a very important position in this defense, and you have to be a run stopper. You have to be able to play some coverage. We blitz that guy some, and guys plugged in and did a pretty good job with it. We moved, Beck moved over there at times. We had Rakeem till he got injured. We had Boykin. So we had a bunch of guys over there that were playing a position, and some played it well in some games, and sometimes we didn't. But that consistency that Tanner brings, again, was it's huge to get him back. So we have to keep him healthy and keep him in games. That's the key for him.
Does anybody else have anything for Coach Gibson? Okay, Alex Sawyer, go ahead.
Yeah, how much does it help, heading into a fall camp to have kind of that entire linebacker core, especially with some of the leaders you have in that unit, all back together to, like you said, just kind of build on what they learned last year?
Yeah, it's a unique spot that we're in right now with all those guys. Isaiah has been a 3-year starter. Peyton is coming back, is really a 3-year starter. Drake has been playing a bunch as a freshman, a 2-year starter. So, those guys, and the key to this defense is, obviously with 3 down, we have to create a lot of plays from the linebacker position. And those guys, not only do they know what to do in their spot, they know what everybody else has to do. And, so they're getting guys lined up, and they're fitting well off of each other. And just for example, on a zone scheme, one time we'll fit it one way and we get the same play 5 plays later, and then we may fit it differently just because those guys are seeing something and they know how to play off of each other and communicate it. So, it helps having that experience, and they're able to take chances and shoot their shot and not play timid.
Anything else for Coach Gibson? We good? Coach, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
And if you guys hold on here, we will have Coach Beck on shortly. As we get ready, media, if anybody want to raise their hand, we'll just go straight into questions. We'll give it a couple seconds here. We're going to get started.
They're so small. Yeah.
All right, Coach Beck, thank you for joining us. Just going to have the media start with questions. James Henderson, go ahead.
Hey, Tim, obviously you have Devin back at quarterback this year. Just your thoughts on him through fall camp?
Yeah, I've been really pleased with him. He seems very confident, very calm in the pocket right now. He's seeing the defense as well, and he's making really good decisions. So I see a lot of growth in him, even though he missed, well over half the season. I still see a lot of growth in him, not only as a player, but also off the field as a leader, personality, much more vocal. So really pleased at his development.
And I just want to follow up. I'm interested to hear how you handle getting guys quality reps during fall camp, but also kind of protecting some of your upperclassmen from injuries and getting nicked up, things like that.
Yeah, it's a puzzle, obviously. You got to make sure they get what they need. You have to try to script that way in practice to get the plays that the certain individuals need. But it's also football. I mean, they got to get ready. They're going to get hit. I mean, until they take pads off and put flags around us, like, we're going to get tackled. And so we got to get used to playing the game. It's the way the game's played. And so it's you do everything you can as a coach to teach your players how to play and practice smart, to take care of each other. But it is football. It is a contact sport, and there's going to be contact. And you try to just be really mindful of that and careful, and try to eliminate as much as you possibly can the excess of it.
Thanks, Tim.
Jonas Pope.
Coach Beck, Coach Gibson just said that because he has so much experience on defense, his guys are able to play faster and not think as much. Going up against that experienced defense every single day, how much is that helping your offense and making your guys better?
Yeah, and I would agree with Coach Gibson. Very fast defensively. They, again, being in the system probably for 1 year also has helped. It's helped the coaches learn the players, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, but it's also helped the players know the system better. So they are playing faster. And it's tough. It's a tough go. I mean, they do a great job against us. We have to continue to remember as coaches and as players, it's about the process. It's not about the results, right? That every day we go out there and we're just trying to get a little bit better every day, right? We're trying to find one thing in our room or one thing in the O-line room. Let's get better at this today. Hand placement. Let's get better at pass pro. Let's get better. And so the small little details are going to add up to a lot bigger, better things. And when you start to game plan and you start to attack people, you start to see results, but you have to lay that foundation first.
Matt Carter.
Yeah, Coach. You had a lot of guys who obviously played a lot last year on offense back, but have there been any newcomers or maybe guys who didn't play as much last year that have kind of really stepped forward and caught your eye so far in camp?
Yeah, I think, I can kind of go position by position. I think up front in the offensive line, Anthony Belton's had a really good fall camp so far. I've been really pleased with his development, his progress, the things he's doing. DoereC Easton's had a good camp. Bryson Spees. I mean, there's a lot of competition going on with those guys. And, you have the consistency of Icky. He's playing well. Really worked on, some of the smaller detail of things that he needs to get better at. Dylan McMahon and Gibby at center. And, it's a good group. It's a good group. They love here. They're lunch pail guys that come in, they punch a clock and they go to work and they love it. At the tight end position, again, Dylan Parham kind of fits that offensive line mentality, but I like what Trent's done. Chris Tootle has really had a really good fall camp at that position. Andrew Jane. I mean, I think those guys have had opportunities to get in there and make some plays, and they've made them. So it looks, I've been really impressed with them. Julian Gray at wide receiver has really done some really nice things for us. Brings a different element to us on the perimeter as a young player, still learning everything, but there's a different gear with him, and I really like what he's doing. And our running backs, we've got a crew back there that have all gotten better. And our young guy, Demi Sumo, he's impressive. He's a really good young prospect that has a bright future here. So I think those are just some guys that jumped out in the first week. But there's others. There's other guys that have done really good, and there's very consistent play with some of the older players that sometimes you take for granted. But those were just a few names that jumped out.
Alex Sawyer.
Yeah, Tim, you kind of touched on him there a second ago, but I just want to ask about Trent Penitz and how he's kind of, adjusted to that new position and how he's been going through camp with that.
He's doing well, Trent's a very, very talented young man, very athletic, very fast, but he's big. And so we felt like we can utilize him with the depth that we have at the running back position with Bam and Ricky and Jordan Houston and Delbert and Mark Jones has had a good fall camp, and now Demi. And we thought, how do we get this guy on the field? How do we help him? And so putting him at a different spot, learning and letting him go out there and he makes some mistakes. That's not his natural position. So he's still learning some of it, but I tell you what, he's an electrifying player. That's for sure. I mean, he makes a lot of things happen and creates a lot of mismatch nightmares out there.
Go ahead, Jonas.
Coach, because you did have a full spring this year, unlike the spring of 2020, and you kind of know your personnel a lot better. Are you guys at the graduate level right now of them knowing your offense, or the PhD level? You guys still in the undergrad, kind of progressing through the whole fall camp?
I guess it depends on who you ask, right? Or what position and what player, right? There's some graduate students, the guys that played a lot of football, they get it. They're picking things up really fast. We're able to add some things and create some things offensively. And then you ask those younger guys that are still learning, and then the incoming freshmen, they're like grade school. They're still learning. So again, it's all about the process. We're just trying to get better every day. If we can get better every day, by the time when it matters, we're going to be a good football team.
And just to follow up, a couple of times this offseason, Coach Doeren has said that Devin has gotten to the point where he's finishing your sentences, kind of know what you want, kind of know what you're going to say next. How much easier does that make the offense flow when the quarterback and you are in sync like that?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, it helps having some consistency. Obviously, we had the COVID bug hit us at one point last year. We had injuries. And so our depth was musical chairs and quarterback was musical chairs. So it's certainly having consistency helps being in the system again, but it is, and Ben's the same way. I mean, Ben has picked up enough now. He's still learning. He's still a young player. We forget that. But those guys now, they get it. They are speaking my language in terms of how I want them to talk, how I want them to answer questions. Really short, clear, and concise, so we can move on and not drag things out. And Aaron's a smart study, McLaughlin. He's picked things up really well. I love his pocket presence. He's a big, strong dude in there. He's just still has a lot to learn.
There's one more quick follow-up. Did it kind of help Devin sitting out and had to watch, kind of learn your system a little bit last year as opposed to, trying to learn on the fly?
I don't know that. I think most players learn by doing. They don't learn by hearing or seeing as much. It familiarizes themselves with the play, perhaps, but actually going out there and seeing cover 2 or seeing cover 3 or the blitz and having to react to it, that you can't replace experience. And so I think that's why I'm very impressed with Devin. I'm very pleased with where he's at, because his ability that he's missed so much football to be able to transition to where he's at, the calmness and the decision-making that he's doing right now is really good.
Does anybody else have anything for Coach Beck? We look good. Okay, Coach, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
And if you guys hold on, we'll have Coach Doeren next. As we get ready, if media wants to raise their hand for Coach Doeren, we'll just go around the room asking some questions. Give it a couple seconds to get them ready here. Okay, looks like we're good to go. Coach, thanks for joining us. Think we'll just get into questions here. Media have questions for Coach Doeren. James Henderson, go ahead.
Hey, Dave, where you guys at, coming out of your first scrimmage?
Well, we came out healthy, so that was good. That's the biggest thing you worry about in these fall camp scrimmages. It was really good back and forth on the field. There was, some explosive plays offensively that were fun to watch. There were some takeaways on defense, some really good plays made. And Tayshawn Smith, it was great having him out there. Had a really nice fumble that he stripped out. So you got to see the completion of plays. I thought at the quarterback position, which is probably what everyone wants to know, Devin played very well, very poised. I really thought the three quarterbacks showed good poise in the scrimmage and made some good plays, protected the ball, didn't throw any interceptions. But, you know, need to continue to do some things just from a game management standpoint. I would say the guys that needed it, that play a lot for us on game day, we got them in, got them out, and got some good work in. You know, I thought we tackled pretty well. It was good to see the running backs get tackled. They need that, you know, for them, just from a ball security standpoint. And we're able to get some good work on our special teams with some kickoff returns against some live guys running down at them, and field goal kickers against some good rush. So, but we need to scrimmage again. We will this week on Thursday, which is 2 weeks from the kick.
I asked Tim a similar question, you know, in terms of how do you balance, you know, getting your older guys some reps, taking a really good look at your younger guys, and also kind of, obviously you want to protect from those injuries leading into your first game.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. And that's the conversations we're having in these staff meetings, is how many reps does Isaiah Moore need? You know, he's played a lot of football. Well, he needs enough. And what is enough? You know, I mean, probably 30 to 40 reps, you know, where they're in there, their heart's beating, they're getting a lot of good situational work. I mean, we hit backed up, we hit red zone, we hit short yardage, we hit 2 minute, and then we had just some regular move the ball series. So the guys were able to get into those situations, and you just need to get them enough where they're ready for game day. And on the other hand, you know, the younger players, we're trying to get them into the 50, 60 rep count where we can put those guys through it and see if they are ready to help us. You know, to get Julian Gray a bunch of reps, a guy that's been impressive in camp, you know, to get Demi Sumo a bunch of reps. And then for guys that were hurt last year that are trying to get back into game shape, they need reps, you know, and so it helps to get Tim McKay a bunch of reps because he missed a lot of time last year on the field. But it's a player by player discussion. It's something that we really look at from a rep count, and it's you don't want to find out on game day you didn't do enough, you know, and I think that's kind of where we're at. And the weather played into it. Saturday it was hot, you know, so we had to be smart that way too.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead, Jonas.
Coach Gibson said that with so many guys back in defense, he wants them to play faster this year. And he feels like they're playing a little faster because they know what to do. They know how to line up, they know the plays. Has that been something that's kind of jumped off the page at you through the first few weeks of practice and throughout the first scrimmage with the ones, with the starters and the guys who know what to do?
Yeah, I think, you know, the continuity of player experience and coach, you know, they're all with the same coaches on defense that they had a year before, same system, same terminology, and playing next to the same player in many cases. That's helped them play faster. I think there's trust. There's built experience. Not that we're playing perfect football, we're not. There's a lot of things we got to do better, but they are playing fast. And what I've seen is they're spending more time talking about the situation. Maybe it's 3rd and long. They're talking about that down and distance, or it's red zone and they're talking about the field position, or they're talking about the offensive sets. They're talking about the other side of the ball instead of, you know, when you're just getting into a defense where you're just getting with a player that hadn't played with you, you're talking about what's the call again? You know, where do I line up? And we're not having those conversations with the ones, and most of the time not with the twos.
And just a follow-up, the offense is no slouch either. There's plenty of guys on that side of the ball who have played the last couple of years. How have those battles been, and how are they making each other better in practices and at the scrimmage on Saturday?
Well, I think the biggest thing for both sides of the ball, it's not that there's it's been well documented. There's a lot of experience back. The problem we've had is that they haven't been on the same field together for consecutive days. We've had guys in and out for, you know, last season it was injuries or it was COVID. Now it's just, you know, a guy's out with a sore hamstring here. or guys sick today. And, you know, we want the 5 best O linemen to play with each other every day, every period, and build continuity and chemistry. And so we're still trying to get to that, Jonas. You know, I think there's a little bit of a misconception that we've got all these guys back. We do, but we also need them all to be out on the field at the same time, working together for consecutive days after days after days. And we've been able to get that in some spots, but not enough of them for me to say that I feel good about it yet. So that's kind of where it's at.
Todd Gibson.
Yeah, Dave, I logged on late. I apologize for that. Hopefully this question hasn't been asked, but it looks like right now you'll be playing in front of a full crowd. Stands will be filled. How big of an advantage is that, especially at Carter Finley Stadium for you guys, because you got such a rabid fan base?
Yeah, well, I was hoping so. You know, I think people have been cooped up, and judging by some of the other public events that I've been able to go to, hockey games were crazy. Just seemed like the fans would want to be at a game and go nuts, and having a night game on top of it. I expect to have a very lively crowd and a bunch of people that are excited to see their football team and their coaching staff on the field together. And so that's what we were hoping for. And you know, the student body being a part of that as well. So that's what makes college football fun, you know, is the pageantry of it. And Carter Finley Stadium on a night, weeknight in particular, is usually a very, very special venue.
Alex Sawyer.
Yeah, Dave, I asked Coach Gibson a similar question, but specifically with the linebackers and having, you know, pretty much that whole unit very experienced and back, how much does that help the defense, not only because they know where, you know, they need to be and what they need to do, but they can kind of help set everything up and have that experience playing together?
Yeah, I think the continuity of that group is good. I think there's also been an opportunity to build some depth behind those guys. And Coach Gibson's done a nice job with Jalen Scott and Devon Betty. Those 2 guys have been able to play both Mike and Will and rotate inside and outside so that we can, you know, build some things so that if a player's out, whether he's just tired or injured, we don't have that inexperienced plug-in. You know, we want to be able to stay at a competitive level. We feel like our 3 starters are as good as anybody's in the country, if not better. We just want to make sure that when one of them steps off the field because his helmet comes off or is, you know, overheated or whatever it might be, that the next guy going in is just as good. And you know, unfortunately, Levi's been out with some minor stuff. Peyton's been out with some minor stuff. But the positive of that is we've been able to rep those other guys and get them ready to play. And they've really done a nice job in their absences. And I think we'll have everybody starting tomorrow back on the field. So that'll be good.
Go ahead, Jonas.
Coach, with the prep season in North Carolina starting back on Friday, how much are you and your staff looking forward to getting back out there and evaluating guys in person as opposed to over watching film last year? You couldn't get out and actually go to those schools.
I'm excited for the high schools. You know, I know that was hard for them not playing last fall and being able to have their normal Friday night lights, you know, in the fall for all these high school teams and coaches. I'm excited for them and happy for them. For us, it's valuable to have live evaluations. We missed that in recruiting. It's something that we truly believe in as one of the most critical ingredients in the evaluation process is seeing them play in person. And so being able to go back out and hit the road and do that on Friday nights, we look forward to that.
Does anybody else have anything for Coach Doeren? Looks like we're good. Coach, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate the
Thank
time.
you, guys. Appreciate your time.
Media, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys calling in today.